Hurricane season 2005. On this September day, a view from the International Space Station as it passes over Florida. Hurricane Ophelia spirals closer to the Carolinas. It's becoming a Category 1 hurricane on the Saffir-Simpson scale, with winds about half as strong as those brought by Katrina. But any hurricane is a big, strong, potentially dangerous storm. This team of hurricane hunters, members of the Air Force Reserve's 53rd Weather Reconnaissance Squadron, are headed for the eye of Ophelia to gather data essential for forecasters. When a hurricane is approaching the U.S. mainland, a hurricane hunter plane will fly through its eye every 3 hours.
Our job is to hunt the hurricane and track it, and to get data as far as wind speed, pressure, temperature, movement of the storm, direction of movement, as well as the speed of the movement. And we transmit that data back to the National Hurricane Center in Miami.
First we came in from the southwest up to the northeast. We jogged over as far as we could to the coast of North Carolina, and then came back down through the center for a second fix. That gave us a movement of 3:45 at 9, so now we know that it's moving to the north-northwest at 9 knots.
This 9-hour mission will make multiple passes through Ophelia, flying into and out of the eye in an X-shaped pattern. Key measurements are taken on each pass by biodegradable devices called dropsons, which are dropped from the aircraft.
In a few seconds, the parachute opens and deploys so that it will fall in a vertical position to the surface of the water. Once it hits the water, it's over, it's dead and gone. So the lifespan is from the airplane to the water. And as it falls through the atmosphere, it senses the temperature, the pressure, the humidity, and then a GPS module inside gives us wind direction and wind speed. So it gives us 5 elements of data every half second as it falls.
That information is processed on the plane and transmitted within minutes to the National Hurricane Center in Miami.
They give it to the media, so when you hear Hurricane Ophelia is moving north-northwest at 15 knots and central pressure's 983 millibars, that's really us giving it to them so that they can pass it to the media. And that's also how FEMA and all the other emergency responders get that information so they can get people out of harm's way.
I get it real time, yeah, just within seconds of when it happens, bouncing off the satellite, it shows up.
John Pavone heads a team of Air Force civilians at the National Hurricane Center. The office is called CARCA, for Chief Aerial Reconnaissance All Hurricanes. Pavone spent 18 years as an Air Force meteorologist flying weather recon missions.
When you're inexperienced, there's always a little bit of a terror factor. You don't know what you're getting into, but after you get a few penetrations under your belt, it's just literally another day at the office.
Pavone coordinates the hurricane hunter flights throughout the June 1st to November 30th hurricane season. He understands how crucial the data they gather can be to National Hurricane Center forecasters, even in the age of sophisticated satellite imagery.
What the satellite does is estimate what's going on in the storm, as opposed to a measurement. If you start your forecast with a known quantity, you're always going to do better than if you're guessing at what you're starting with.
What we're going to look for next time the plane goes through the storm in about another hour, hour and a half, is whether the winds have come up or whether the pressures come back up to match better with those winds.
Hurricane Center Deputy Director Ed Rappaport uses that information to provide up-to-the-minute storm information on the air for TV stations and networks.
The hurricane hunters are absolutely essential to the work that we do here. While satellites provide us a great means of monitoring, they do so from afar. Remotely, many miles away from the storm, but the aircraft, when it flies through, gives us ground truth, if you will, even though they're at flight level, what's really going on in a hurricane. In particular, where it's centered, how strong it is, and what the structure of the storm is.
The first flight into a hurricane was made by an Army Air Corps pilot near the end of World War II, on a dare. After the war, weather reconnaissance flights quickly became a staple of the new service branch, the Air Force, and a hurricane hunter unit was soon created. They've been flying C-130s and working with the National Weather Service for more than 40 years, and have never lost a plane flying into a hurricane. This year they're flying the new C-130J with stronger engines and advanced electronics. Whatever the equipment, crews say flying into a hurricane can be just another day at the office or a unique experience.
Most of the time it's just like being in a big car wash. It's just the rain's coming down, steady rain, and beating down on us, and it can be real loud at times. It's so heavy the rain, and then all of a sudden sometimes you'll see lightning and a lot of bumps, and at times it feels like a little roller coaster. You're going up and down with the turbulence, and as you get close to the eye wall.
And that ride can make work challenging.
I would like to tell you that if you got into, say, the back of a pickup truck and put your laptop on your lap, riding in a rocket chair down a dirt road in Mississippi, that's about, try to type a letter to Mom on that. On occasion, it gets real tough.
You know, I don't think anyone can fly through the eye of a hurricane and not feel like a speck of sand on this earth because of the massiveness and the magnitude of looking up this huge wall of clouds, like sitting on the 50-yard line of a football stadium looking up. To fly through that is awe-inspiring, and I think that's one of the most incredible experiences, to see winds at 200 miles an hour down to nothing in a matter of 5 minutes.
The real experts are the crew that fly on the aircraft, because they fly through hurricanes many times and have experienced much more than those of us down here on the ground, and know what it's like. And we're very grateful to them, because what they do not only provides us with critical information, but it is a risky endeavor, and we appreciate very much their hard work and dedication.
96-hour forecast.
In daily conference calls, the Hurricane Center provides current forecasts and weather information to a wide variety of clients, including military weather offices like the Navy's Maritime Forecast Activity in Norfolk, Virginia.
Potentially as a tropical storm.
While the Hurricane Center is concerned about storms that could make landfall in the U.S., the Navy wants to know about weather affecting both military bases on land and the ships at sea. This office is responsible for naval weather forecasts from Texas to New York.
Ships that are out operating at sea, we provide daily weather forecasts for those units. If they're going to be impacted by significant weather like a winter storm or a tropical storm, we'll provide an efficient and safe route around that weather.
If the forecast predicts winds of more than 50 knots in Norfolk, the fleet has to be sortied, meaning moved out of port and into open water. That happened during the advance of Hurricane Isabel in 2003. Navy ships need to begin preparing to leave port 96 hours before a storm hits, with a decision to actually get underway made much closer to landfall.
If we are going to sortie, we want to get the ships out prior to the onset of 12-foot seas. That's not always possible, and it takes a better part of a day to get, if there's a lot of ships in port, to get them all out. But it's certainly better than having a bunch of ships sitting pierside and taking 100-knot winds and just getting beat up.
But it isn't necessarily an easy ride at sea when a hurricane passes.
I was 250 nautical miles off the coast of Carolinas on the USS Moosebrugger DD 980. We took a 43-degree roll that night. We were in 20-foot seas, 70 knots of wind. Much smaller ship than a carrier. The ship sits on the ocean. This is 90. 43 is about there. At 45, the ship starts to capsize.
Don't take hurricane season lightly if you live along the eastern seaboard or the Gulf Coast. We've seen a dramatic increase over the past several years here.